Well, welcome back to the PropLink AI podcast. I'm Stuart Quintal, and this show is all about real stories from founders, operators, and builders across property, PropTech, AI, and media. Now, we dig into what's actually happening on the ground and what's working, what's hard, and also where the technology fits into it all. Today, I'm joined by Asma, the founder of the Golf Pulse. Asma, great to have you on.
Thank you, Stuart. So I might be a little bit of a different guest on your show today.
I understand it's Ramadan and first week of Ramadan as well. It's always a bit of a
Yeah,
challenge to change the mind and change the body as well.
it does.
Which, I mean, that's sort of what this we're talking about here is like a bit of change. Now, before we get into the business, I'd like to start with you. So, going back a bit, what first drew you into, I guess, from a business perspective, but what drew you into the golf market specifically, and what also were you doing before you launched the Golf Pulse?
Okay, so basically, I think I'm not the typical guest that you normally have on your show and all that. So I am a journalist. By core, I am a journalist. So becoming an entrepreneur is a very long journey. So it's like a journey over 25 plus years and all that. So I started off as a journalist. I actually started my say the profession jumped into was in Pakistan when I was a student. So I started off working part time kind of for the English newspaper in Pakistan. So that's where I started my actual work. Then when I moved to the UAE, I was associated with the Khalij Times and I worked with them on different positions. I grew over the years for almost 20 years. So 19 and a half years, I worked with Khalij Times. So until 2019. And then after 2019, it was a very different kind of scenario, you know. The whole workplace had shifted, COVID had come in, so things were like really different. So then I was writing for the National, I was writing for Arab News Pakistan edition, and I was actually freelancing for almost 10 kind of publications around the world. So it was a very connected kind of world and all that. Then in between, I took a jump to a corporate world and I did communications. So this is when I kind of realized that I think the corporate world is nice and I learned a lot of things from there, you know, that intensity that a corporate job requires from you and the focus that is needed. So I learned so much because as journalists, we have a very tunnel vision, you know. We wake up in the morning, we say, okay, we need to chase a story, let's go speak to a few people or maybe attend an event, come back and file our story, and we are chasing stories and we are dreaming about stories, literally, I'm telling you that what are we going to work on tomorrow and all that. So we have a very tunnel vision and we don't really go broad. But corporate showed me that there was so much more happening. So that is where I think the seed was planted on there is something I need to do. I need to go back to journalism, but not to work for someone, but to do something of my own, you know, which I, so that is how I came to think about the idea of the Gulf Pulse. And I started working on which topic would work best for the UAE and what is actually happening on ground and how I can make a difference. So right now, also, if you ask me for the past actual work, I mean, the website went live in September of 2025. So, but the work was being done a lot before, you know, it actually went live and all. So all that time, I think I have been on a learning journey. I was never an entrepreneur, but I think I'm not doing bad. I'm doing okay in that. So yeah, that is just a very brief kind of journey that I mentioned on how I reached here. It just looked like a very natural kind of from where I started to where it's coming back, but at a different level and a different role.
Yeah. So you've sort of covered off your background and also what sort of got you in, what sort of the pain point, I guess, that got you started on the Golf Pulse. Now, look, let's sort of talk about the market that you're operating in. So, like the golf market, the Gulf region is moving fast, and as you say, like when you're working in a corporate, everything moves fast. But, across the Gulf, there's so many things happening. Like there's capital flow regulation changing, new players entering new businesses. But what, from your perspective, what's actually happening on the ground?
So it's been happening for quite a while. I mean, if we are looking at the niche that I am focusing on right now, I mean, and that's real estate, and obviously PropTech is linked to that, and then we have these are three verticals we kind of follow the community as well because this is what makes the real estate ecosystem. So yes, the market has been changing for a while, and I'll talk from my experience and my business perspective, rather saying that, I thought that there were big publications that were covering what the market is doing, which are very focused on business itself. We have big names that have millions of followers. For example, I'm talking about the newspaper publishing industry and the digital platforms that they have millions of followers, but there was no focus on this particular aspect of the market, which we know the GCC is in a boom, real estate boom. It went down and then it came back up, and also, so I just thought that there was so much noise. It was all very scattered. It's still very scattered. They have sections. So how come that the market is booming? Every second person who comes to the UAE, they experiment with being a real estate broker. That is what they jump into. So how come we are not focusing in detail on what is happening? There is so many things that happen behind the scenes. So it's not only about a developer announcing a project or launching a project, or you know we have links like PropTech. There was an interesting story I did about cooling sand that is happening, balconies that are being cooled so that they can adjust to the temperature. Then there is some concrete material, cement, that
Mm.
is being designed specifically for this market because of the heat and the environment and everything. So these are the stories that I felt were not being told. So I wanted to think about the Gulf Pulse bringing all this together, and going into the depth of the storytelling. So yes, we are covering the market in a different way, but we are still bringing on ground the statistics, the numbers, what is happening, what if the residential market is picking up or not, or how the offices are doing, or what actually the Dubai bubble is. Again, there are a lot of, every single day you hear about the market is going to, the market is going to crash. So we get to experts and we ask them what is actually happening.
I mean, it's quite refreshing to see that you're building something from a credibility basis, and also you're not focusing on like hype driven activity, which you sort of highlighted. Like, there's a lot of noise. There's an incredible amount of noise that's out there. Like, there seems to be more brokers than there are properties, but also like there's also just more noise coming out there. So, and I've looked at quite a number of your pieces. You're doing one-to-one interviews. You're meeting with people. So you seem to be focusing on the credibility side of the market and bringing those stories to life, and that angle as well to life. How are you sort of thinking about growth?
So that is a very good question, actually. So what I am thinking was, I actually was talking about it with someone even yesterday, and I see, when I launched my platform, I did not have any investor. So I am bootstrapping, and that is how I intended to keep it. And I am not looking for any investors as well, because when an investor comes in, they bring their own ideology, they bring their own details, what they want to be impacted, to be added to a project. So I want to take my project in my vision with my editorial focus, and our to keep our credibility and integrity intact. So that kind of impacts growth as well, which means, it's a name. I have a big vision, which I believe, but I have a limited budget to work on, which means my growth has to be a bit stunted. It's going to go slow, and that is what my strategy is. So, for example, someone was asking me, okay, how are your socials doing? I said, see, we are just a 4-month-old baby. We're a little website. We just, nobody knows the Gulf Pulse yet, as you know. But that is what we are trying to do. I'm not going to be spending a lot of money on social media, buying followers or anything. I want to do it organically, which means we do it the journalistic way, which means we go and speak to the people who matter, because these are the people who are using social media. And everyone, even though you have your own channel, or you are on social media with your own accounts, everyone likes to be featured in some kind of media. So that is the growth. I think I want to connect with the community and grow organically. So that is why you see the interviews that are happening, one-on-one interviews. That is why we reach out to people who are experts, and we make it a point to put it out there on social media, that these are the people we have spoken to, and that is how it is shared, and that is how we are growing. So my analytics, if you see, and all my trend that is happening, we are growing organically. And I think that is what I am planning for the next 6 months. slow and steady. So it won't be like a spurt, like you'll hear the Gulf Pulse has come. Oh my God, you'll have hear a big name, and then it will disappear. So what I plan on doing is going slow and steady as I can, and with bringing credible stories to you. The real journalistic touch. I actually, just to share something with you, I went to an old employer of mine just recently. It's a very big name in the UAE. And I was like kind of surprised because their newsroom does not have an editor anymore. It is called Chief Content Officer. So at least they were being honest about at least they were being honest about it. So that editorial aspect, the journalistic aspect, which is very difficult, it's a whole lot of different kind of conversation. It is being impacted. So the focus is on content. Give any kind of content,
Yeah.
any clickbaity content, anything that will make you grow. But that's not the route I want to follow. So yeah, the growth will be there. I know people will see the value going down the line once we are established, but it will be a bit slow.
And what's been surprising for you? You know, I know the website launched, or the platform launched only a few months ago, but you're building it obviously before and you're testing things. But what's surprised you the most about building the platform in this region?
So actually, it was not a surprise, but once you're in it, that's when you realize, okay, this is how things work. I don't think I went into the details of thinking of, all right, okay, this is the licensing procedure, this is how it's going to happen, then I will need a media license as well. I did my homework definitely and all that. But once you jump into it and you start doing it, so the good surprise was that the licensing aspect in the UAE to establish a company, even as a media company, is very easy and all that. So, and I also had a kind of a research done, independent study done before I launched. I wanted to know what the market is like, what I will face. So one of the things standing out there was the collection or the content that you have to give every day. So filling up a website with fresh content every day is not easy. So you have to generate the content. You have to be in touch with everyone. So there is no break. There are no holidays. There's no Saturday. There's no Sunday. There's no weekend. Nothing at all. So you have to keep on doing that. And I have been doing that for years. So I was a bit ready. But I realized that, it might not be that difficult as it was being shown to get content. So people are very eager to do it, eager to share their stories. They're very eager to give us the press releases, even though we do not carry all of them and all that, because again, that's a very promotional thing. But the surprising thing was that for me, as an independent publisher, independent journalist, the trust people put in immediately. It was not like I was working in silo or people I had to struggle initially. I was very pleasantly surprised that people were very open to it, and they are like really accepting of the fact that a new publication has come in, an independent publication has come in. It was not like I was feeling like, okay, I don't know where I'm going to fit in because with the giants and all that. So I don't focus on them at all. I just focus on my work and I get good feedback. So that was a nice surprise.
I mean, it's always encouraging when the market is accepting, but also it shows that there's space for new
Yes.
players. There's space for somebody to find the niche. I've talked to a lot of business founders and owners and operators that have found a niche and they've built fantastic businesses around it. Let's. I want to sort of move sort of into like the tech side, systems, as you're running like, research and media driven platform. That means like there's a lot of content workflows. You've got data coming in. You're gathering a lot of information. Like you said, you're getting press releases, but also then you've got the side of publishing and distribution as well. So, what tools or systems are helping you to run efficiently right now?
So yes, definitely. I don't think I could do this without my AI support partner, which everyone knows who it is. But I'll tell you why. Because again, as I said, it's I have a very limited budget, and I really, really want to. There's so many talented people who are out there looking for jobs and who have so much of good, strong talent and industry experience, especially in the region. So, I mean, for me as a founder, I would have actually loved to get that kind of support. One head is better, two heads are always better than one head. So, someone who's there to, you can just go and say, okay, this is my idea, this is what's going to happen. Let's do it. Let's play with the story this way. Let's look at this angle. Do it. But unfortunately, again, because of my tight budget, I could not. But then again, as a single person running, I do have a team of freelance writers, and they're fantastic. They're really, really good writers. But again, in the back end, I am the only one who's handling it for now because of my tight budget. I'm very transparent about that and very clear about that. I really wish people could come on board. But the moment I am able to do that, probably I will expand. So for my support, I needed to have someone on the AI side to help me out. So what I've done is we have our style sheet, the Gulf Pulse style sheet that we follow, and we have our rules and regulations. And this is the editorial aspect that we are going to follow, and that has been fed into the AI system, and every story is put through that. There is that entire voice of the Gulf Pulse that is given, and then the final checks are done by me before it is uploaded. And so that's the main tool that I'm using for the tech enablement and all that. And yes, definitely, I had to learn all about SEO. I had to go have meetings with digital team because that is still a very strong. Your website cannot take over anything unless you have fixed these issues. I have support from my digital team as well who are working on the SEO aspect. But yes, on the content front, and again, I'm being very transparent. I do put it through that churner, but
Hmm.
it does follow the Gulf Pulse style, and then the final check is done by a human and all that. I wouldn't be able to launch or, to be honest, to even run the website every day if I did not have this kind of. Because editing a story by a human takes up to almost an hour or so. I mean, if you're paying attention. If I'm going to be doing one story for an hour, where I need to fill the website with up to 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 stories in a day, I don't think I'll be able to do anything else. So what this does is like a kind of edits for me. The software edits for me, and I look it through and check the facts. And that's the most important thing. The main things are not missing. The facts are intact. That is the main check I do before we upload. But that helps and saves my time.
Now, like speaking of like you sort of covered off the content and the writing style, and you use AI and you in the process as well to help augment. I guess I see there's augmenting your workload, but also helping you get content and stories to publication and distribution. But the people that you're speaking to, like you see the founders, you speak with developers, you speak with probably tech players, so you probably speak to the people with investors in the capital side for either developments, but also in the technology side. That you're speaking with all those people, and that's all intersecting in sort of the content and the stories that you write. Where do you think AI is going to have like the biggest impact in like golf real estate over the next few years?
So, like I already said, if it was a normal newsroom and if the Gulf Pulse had been launched at a different time, there would have been so many people around. We wouldn't have been able to operate without a newsroom, a full newsroom. So, that would have been around, say, one editor, two sub editors, a photographer, a videographer, and an editor to overlook. So, at least 10 people in the newsroom. So, right now, it's only, you're not going to wait for impact for 5, 6, 7 years. It's already happened. It's You must have read the news about the Washington Post laying off their staff. So the impact is already happening. If the AI kind of writes for me, if it edits for me, it does everything for me according to what my style is, or and it doesn't make errors as well, then I probably don't need another person. I just need to be mindful. The whole thing is given to me in minutes, and otherwise I would be, with other people. So the impact is, it's not 5, 7 years down the line. It's already happening. And many of us, like writers, we are writers, we are losing our jobs. And this was also one reason, actually, because I launched the Gulf Pulse. Because the job market in the Gulf, in the Middle East, is shrinking. It's shrinking really fast. And there is not much room for, well, people of a certain age as well, because I've been told I'm over experienced. So obviously, they're the young people who have to come in, they have to take over the job market as well. So it's already impacting them in this thing. So by 5, 7 years, if you're asking me, I think it's going to be a tough time. Certain
Yeah.
professions might not be there at all.
Yeah, I mean, all the professions are evolving. That's the other
Yes.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Evolving to use AI or evolving to develop new opportunities with AI. Yeah, I don't want to be doom and gloom, but like, you know, now speaking like the property, the property market or the property ecosystem, and probably probably look at more the ecosystem, so developers, brokers, technology platforms, and even from a content perspective, how do you see like the golf property ecosystem evolving over the next few years? And what role, I guess, then does the Golf Pulse play in that evolution?
See, what from what the experts have been saying is that the market is kind of adjusting. So the boom kind of thing that you would say might kind of settle down, but we still have millionaires moving in to the Gulf region. After Dubai, it is Saudi Arabia that is growing. So that is why the Gulf Pulse focuses on the GCC region. After Dubai, we also focus a lot of on Saudi Arabia's growth. We are watching how it is growing. Then, interestingly, I just commissioned a story to some writer in Canada. There's a reverse migration that is happening. So people who left UAE for Canada are coming back. And it's not only the young people who are coming back, actually, the people who are retired, they're selling off their property in Canada and they're moving back to Dubai for a long term stay here. So that is the kind of attraction this market is going to see. So you might hear stories every day. In fact, we did one yesterday, is the market going to crash? What's going to happen? But then it's kind of settling down. So that is what the experts are telling us. We do not make up these things ourselves because our job is to report on what the experts are saying. And that is what the Gulf Pulse is going to do, keep on doing. If the market goes down, we report that. If the market goes up, we report that. If it stabilizes, we report that. So what is actually happening is on ground is what we are reporting. So it's not like we are impacted by the market going up or we are impacted by the market going down because we are doing journalism. We are just reporting what is there on the ground. So that is the kind of support we will be giving and keeping an eye on what is going on and bringing you guys the latest from the experts.
Well, look, Asma, conscious that you're fasting. It's Friday, so I want to make sure that keeping um, your concentration levels up. Look, I've really enjoyed the conversation here, and I hope the listeners do as well, because you're bringing a credible insight into the industry as well, and you're building something that's organic. And real, and also finding that niche in the market. So I really appreciate your time. Now, if people want to learn more about the Golf Pulse, where should they go?
So they can go to the website and they can actually explore the website. It has really good content. It's thegulfpulse.com. It's easily, they can type up Google and it will pop up. And if they want to reach me, they can directly reach out to me. In fact, I'm open to story ideas. I'm open to collaborations. I'm open to partnerships. We are already media sponsors for a couple of events that are coming up in this year. So I am open to a lot of things that can help us small businesses, startups grow together. So they can reach out to me on Asma at the Gulf Pulse, ASMA at thegulfpulse.com. And if they have a news bit to give us, they can send it to us at news at thegulfpulse.com. So there's lots of good stuff on the website. I'm sure they will enjoy. They can give us a follow on the socials as well. And that's where we are growing organically as well. You won't see huge numbers. That's because we believe in genuine readers and a very focused and targeted audience.
Excellent, Asma. Look, I'll put all those details into the show notes so people can follow those and get in touch. Thanks for coming on the show and sharing your story.
So much, Stuart, for giving me this opportunity, and I really, really appreciate it.
Now, if listeners to this podcast enjoyed this episode, follow us on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for PropLink AI Podcast, and we've got more great conversations coming with founders and operators in the industry across property and PropTech. Until next time, thanks for listening.